Welcome to SHA, the Sound Healers Association, founded by Jonathan Goldman in 1982, bringing education and awareness of the use of sound and music for healing and transformation. SHA features presentations by founding pioneers in the modern sound healing field, and we have a sound healing directory allowing you to list your work or find practitioners and teachers. There's a monthly online meeting, a blog, a vast resource of articles, and much more. SHA, the Sound Healers Association, is dedicated to bringing harmony to the world of sound.
Okay, here we go, and we're jumping in now. And again, I'm Steve Farrell with Humanities Team. I'm here in Boulder, Colorado. I live near my dear friend Jonathan Goldman and his wife Andi, and it's my pleasure to be here just to introduce Jonathan and Andi as this program starts. So, and of course, this is a Sound Satsang, and it's a monthly program now that Humanities Team is really grateful to be producing each and every month with Jonathan and Andi. So thanks for being with us. I think you're going to have a fantastic time. Let me just want to read a brief introduction here as we get started. So Jonathan and Andi Goldman are a powerful pair in the world of conscious living and sound healing. Jonathan is an internationally recognized authority, pioneer, and author in sound healing. Andi is a licensed psychotherapist who utilizes holistic treatment and sound healing. Both are highly respected leaders in the sound healing and spiritual music community. Andi and Jonathan have co-written 2 books together, Chakra Frequencies and The Humming Effect. And again, I'll just share, when we came out a moment ago, Jonathan and I were sharing that sound healing is really taking off as it should, because it is, as we're creating conscious living in the world, sound healing is a big role. It's an incredibly useful device. And you're looking at the man here, Jonathan Goldman, who got this whole thing started, was called to it at an early age, and hooray, thank God he was, because look where sound healing is today. And my pleasure, Jonathan, to turn this over to you.
Hello, everyone.
Greetings, everyone. Thank you for that wondrous introduction, Steve, and greetings, everyone. I am Jonathan Goldman. This is a Sound Satsang. It is March 19th, 2024, and tonight we have the fabulous Equinox, do we not? We have my fabulous wife Andi with me to guide and co-author this. All right, my dear, yes.
So I'd like to, in behalf of Jonathan and myself, welcome everyone here to our Sound Satsang. It is a very special Sound Satsang tonight because it happens to be the equinox time, the very auspicious changing of the seasons. And so we arranged our satsang so that we would have it from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock, and then at 9:06 the equinox actually occurs. So it is indeed a special energy tonight. So we welcome everyone, and if you are here for the very first time, we are delighted and welcome you. And if you are back with us and have been with us for many of our Sound Satsangs, welcome to everyone. We are so delighted to be able to be sharing with you all tonight. So it is a joy for us. And I would like to kind of give a bit of an overview.
But first, I want to thank everyone again for coming, because this is so cool. We have become a community of people. Sound Satsang is a sound obviously uses, in terms of vibration. Usually we work with sacred vibration. And Satsang means either a discourse or a community. It can mean all sorts of things. But here we are, sort of a community that gathers together and focuses ultimately on using sound for personal and planetary healing. And particularly, I think our subject for tonight is so very, very important in terms of planetary healing. And I think it's something we can all utilize and share with others. Andi?
And our main topic tonight is compassionate understanding. And we are going to delve deeply into that concept and really talk about what that means and how we can develop compassionate understanding within our own lives. So that's our main topic. And we also have Jonathan has created a beautiful video to honor Tara, who is the Tibetan female Buddha of Compassion. And so we'll be seeing some beautiful visuals and listening to the chant to Tara. After that, I will be doing an astrological assessment of this very auspicious time, being that it is the equinox. And of course, there's a lot of other astrological influences as well. After that, we will be in our guided global sound healing meditation for personal and planetary healing. So we do have a lot in store for everyone tonight. So Jonathan, I think we can just go ahead and jump right in.
All right. Well, to use my new favorite word, yikes. Here we are, and we're going to be dealing with compassionate understanding. And the question is, what is compassion and understanding? And really, let's start for just a moment. We've talked about compassion, and you have a wonderful definition of compassion.
Well, compassion, the one that I love so much is that it is compassion is the passion that we have for the wish that all sentient beings be free from suffering. And so when we look at that definition of compassion, and then we put understanding with that, what does that mean? Jonathan, let's talk about understanding,
right.
so we can combine those two.
You know, I looked up in the Oxford Dictionary, there were a lot of meanings for understanding, but one in particular struck me, which is the first one, was your knowledge and ability to judge a particular situation or subject, to judge a situation or subject. And then second was your belief about something based on what you've heard or read. So here we have, on a level, I don't think understanding can be compassionate if we do not imbibe it as a non-judgmental activity and ability.
Absolutely. What we want is to be able to use understanding as a non-judgmental ability, because when we do that, we open up the door, if you will, to allow in compassionate understanding. And Jonathan, what I really like so much is that when we are able to temporarily suspend judgment so that we can then appreciate and allow another person's perspective, another situation, when particularly if it's not in alignment with our own. But when we suspend that judgment, we then open up to allowing more open communication and more ability to connect.
Right. I mean, ultimately, you can't have an I'm right or you're wrong type of situation and have a deeper understanding, having, compassionate understanding. So we're going to deal with that. The question is like, why? What purpose does compassionate understanding serve us?
And through compassionate understanding, we can learn to accept each other and accept in a positive way, and actually feed our field with our consciousness of positivity.
Feed the field of the planet even.
Yes. And so being able to, I think, why do we want to be able to utilize compassionate understanding? We want to accept people for who and what they are. If they don't agree with us, hey, you know what? There's a lot of divisiveness on our planet right now. And that was really what prompted us to begin to work with compassionate understanding in a more formalized way like we are tonight.
Yeah, we've been using this term for well over a year, or perhaps even 2 years. And one of the reasons is that more recently than ever, there seems to be so much divisiveness occurring. Here we see that you folks are from all over the planet now, and I know that you have experiences as well, where just, countries are divided from each other. Parts of countries are divided from each other. Even families are in conflict with each other because of their beliefs, whether it's politics or religion or something, or health or something like that. And, you make one person becomes right and one person becomes wrong in a situation, and it doesn't do any good. And in fact, well, we'd like to sort of bring up a fellow by the name of Thich Nhat Hanh, who probably a number of you are familiar with. Right before the most recent World Sound Healing Day, we began reading a book by Thich Nhat Hanh, who has left the planet, but he wrote this book before that called Zen and the Art of Saving the World. Because I thought, what has this got to do? Because we have World Sound Healing Day, which is sort of our attempt at assisting and creating shift in the vibratory level. And one of the things that he said, and I'm going to quote him, in order to collaborate with each other, we need to know how to listen deeply and how to speak skillfully in order to restore communication. Because the bottom line is there's some huge, huge difficulties that we are all facing on a planetary level. Right now, people are so concerned about X, Y, and Z, and they exist. But I firmly believe that we humans, if we work together, if we communicate together, we can not only think outside the box, we can create outside the box. We can create 1 + 1 = 3 and create a quantum phenomena that is much greater than normally thought. But we can only do that if we practice compassionate understanding.
And of course, when we were reading Thich Nhat Hanh's book, he introduced us to the term deep listening.
Deep listening.
And we went, whoa, that is in such beautiful resonance with compassionate understanding. So when we can go into deep listening, it's interesting because oftentimes when we're in a conversation with someone, we've formulated the answer that we want or the retort that we're going to give before that person has even finished speaking. And so when we go into deep listening, that is a very beautiful inroad to be able to understand another person, to understand another situation. And so if we are in a place of mindfulness when we are listening, that is a real plus to having a compassionate dialogue.
Yeah, indeed. Through utilizing compassion and understanding, we can learn to resonate with those whose views we may not perceive, or we may perceive actually, we may not perceive as being in alignment with ours, or we may perceive as being discordant with ours. Because, we don't necessarily have to agree to have the same belief, but we need to be able to talk about what is going on with this one. And there's so much fear and anger currently on the planet, and what a great way of manifesting fear and anger is don't have people speak to each other or make the other person wrong. You're bad, shame the other person. It does a lot of good. No, it doesn't. So if we can practice compassionate communication, compassionate understanding, the first thing, as Andi was saying, is working with deep listening. And indeed, in the sound satsangs we've talked about, one of the major pillars of sound healing being silence. And that in very many different spiritual traditions, you really need to be in silence so you can attune to aspects of the divine. And the same thing also in conversation. You need to be silent. When the other person is speaking, if you're finding that you are indeed, that you've got an answer before they're done with their statement, you're not practicing compassionate listening. So listening is a very high level of working with sound.
And when we are talking about this very important topic, what goes through my mind is like, well, that all sounds great, and compassionate listening, compassionate understanding, and let us all do that. But it's much easier said than done. And we acknowledge that.
Yeah.
And so my
Right.
question now, Jonathan, is how do we develop compassionate listening and understanding? How do we go about doing that?
Right. And then the next step is going to be compassionate conversation or dialogue, which is a deeper one. And I guess it's on a level as simple as practice.
Well, it's why it's called a practice. So you can practice it. But, one of the things too that I think is very helpful when we are in a conversation with someone and we are wanting to practice deeper listening and mindfulness and go into compassionate understanding, one of the things we can do is actually focus on our breathing. Because when we're focusing on our breathing, we're listening to the other person. We're not jumping ahead in our mind of what we're going to say. And so as we are breathing and focusing on that, we can listen a little bit more mindfully.
Nice. Breath is huge. Breath is the essence of life and the essence of sound. And indeed, remembering to take some nice, slow, deep breaths whenever we're in situations. That's so listening, right? And the next one, and we talked about this a lot too, in terms of the fact that we can use the conversational voice as a healing instrument. And indeed, the concept of using words to heal, using loving speech is also mandatory in terms of, if you like, conscious communication, deep listening, and then attempting to do loving speech, or at least not making the other person wrong. And you got to be on a level calm when you're doing this. Compassion does not seem to manifest if we're not calm,
or if we're in a state of agitation.
Right.
It's very difficult to practice definite, compassionate understanding. But also something else that I think is very helpful too, as we're bringing in these concepts, and they may be new concepts to some people, they may not be, but I think that if we can set an intention ahead of time, for instance, if we're going to be involved in a conversation with someone, and we may be a little bit concerned about it or worried about it, before it happens, we can actually set an intention to hold loving words as we are in this conversation. We can set the intention to remember to breathe while the other person is talking.
I remember in Thich Nhat Hanh's book, there was a story, and it was probably written a year or more ago, but they had some Palestinians and Israelis come together to see if they could basically get into compassionate conversation, dialogue, etc. And for the first week, they wouldn't even be in the same room together. Finally, they trained them in mindfulness and breathing so that they could sit there and they could listen to each other talk. And something miraculous happened, which was that as they listened to each other dialogue about their problems, they realized that while they weren't in agreement with the solution, that they both realized they had the same problems, they had the same issues. And once you have that one-to-one connection with a person, because let's face it, we're all on a quantum level interconnected with each other. And if we can realize that interconnection by listening to each other and going, wow, that person has the same issues as I do, then there may be a way to find a solution.
And of course, Jonathan, that makes me remember that wonderful adage that is so prevalent in many, many traditions, and that's the golden rule.
Yes.
And that is do unto others as you would have others do unto you, because we really are the same. We really are just people here on this planet.
Right. You can really dislike an action, a deed, for sure.
Mhm.
Right? That's a terrible thing. Okay, yeah, but not necessarily dislike the person who did that. Because that's the whole thing. Or hate the person. Don't do that. And try to have compassion for them, but not accept the deed, which is easier said than done. But that, once again, this is all a practice. I'm just reminded that right now, our beloved Lama Tashi in India is doing a puja for us, just generating compassion and higher consciousness. He's sending it out to all beings on the planet. And if we can somehow begin to incorporate just a small aspect of that action, understanding, and embodiment of the divine, what a blessing that would be.
Absolutely, Jonathan. And I think, speaking about Lama Tashi, and he is our dear beloved Tibetan Lama. And it is reminding me that we might want to talk about the visions of Tara coming up.
Visions of Tara, yes.
Because Jonathan created a video that is going to bring in the Tibetan deity, actually the female Buddha of Compassion, Tara. And we're going to be seeing beautiful visuals of Tara, and we're going to be listening to her chant as well. And that is to help all of us to open our hearts and our spirits to being more compassionate.
When we were putting this together, I kind of said, okay, what should I do as an energetic vibrational video form, combining sound and light that I could, present to you folks? And it was like, okay, bring Tara to the stage. We have worked before with the Bodhisattva of Compassion, being known as the Avalokitesvara Chenrezig, the male counterpart of Tara. Tara is the female Bodhisattva of Compassion. She is, if you like, aligned with the Earth Mother, the Divine Mother, Mother Mary, Kuan Yin, medicine woman, calf woman, and just all these different beings. She's the divine essence of the Divine Mother. And what more can you want there to embody compassion?
Yeah, beautifully said, Jonathan. But also, I think that you pulled together some really nice sounds that go along with the chant. Do you want to share some of that?
Well, these are sort of found sounds. I was going through my library of different sounds and recordings, and as always, I began to put things together, and I took this chant from the Healing Sounds intensive of a group of many, many people chanting the Tara chant, coupled with crystal bowls, coupled with tambura. So I think you'll find it very, very pleasing and relaxing, coupled with these images of Tara, once again, said to be the embodiment. Now, Andi, the chant.
And the chant that we are going to be hearing. Now, if you know this chant, of course, you can chant along as well. But really, this particular video is really just to listen and to see the beautiful visuals and to begin to embody that compassion within your heart. But the chant itself is Om Tara Tu Tare, Ture Svaha.
Om Tara Tu Tare Ture Svaha.
And what that means literally is homage to you, Divine Tara, a radiant mother of compassion and protection. And so we can hopefully enliven our own inner Divine Mother as we listen and see this lovely video.
Yes. So I'd like to suggest we all just begin to get ready, realizing that let the chant sort of wash over you and encode the energy of compassion, because on a level, these mantras, these sacred mantras, are said to basically be the sonic embodiment of the attribute. And for this one, it's compassion and protection. Yes, Tara is a wondrous being for protection. So let us pay homage to Tara, look at the different images, and
And
Anything
really
else?
vibrate in the frequency of compassion.
Nice. That's okay. So I think that everybody ready here. And listen, it's so wonderful. Everyone from around the world, let us just breathe in the energy of Tara. Breathe in the divine mother, the energy of compassion as we watch and listen to this video. Hello. Hello.
Well, welcome back, everyone. And we hope that you enjoyed that meditation to really embody compassion. So we are ready now.
And
Did you
probably number
yeah.
one, you want to be compassionate with yourself, you know?
Absolutely. That's the number one. That's the first place to start. So what we'd like to do now is go into our portion of our program dedicated to the astrological energies that are happening on our planet. And of course, as we mentioned earlier, this is a very potent, very powerful time because it is almost the equinox, but we really are in the energy of the equinox now because we timed our show, our program tonight so that it would end at 9 o'clock and the equinox actually occurs at 9:06 Mountain Time. And so that would be 11:06 Eastern Time. And just wherever your time zone happens to be, you can adjust for that. But it is happening very shortly.
Well, I think on a level, we're actually well into the energy.
Well, it sure feels like it. And really, what is happening at the equinox? Well, it is when the sun enters the sign of Aries. And Aries is the first sign of the astrological zodiac. And so basically, this is the astrological new year. And so there's a lot, Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
So there's a lot of really dynamic Aries energy. Aries is a fire sign. It's very potent, very powerful. And so we are coming into this new season with this Aries energy. And of course, here in the Northern Hemisphere, it is the beginning of our spring. In the Southern Hemisphere, it is the beginning of fall. However, in both cases, the actual key word is balance, because it is at this time that we have equal day and equal night. And so the equinox really marks a turning point when daylight begins to take over the darkness. Now, it's interesting because when we had the winter solstice, we did go into a more introspective period within ourselves. And of course, we're coming out of that now with the dynamic energy of the spring equinox. And so perhaps as the darkness begins to diminish and the light increases, we may begin to feel a little bit more energy, that fog may be finally lifting, so to speak. And so we begin to feel more life force, with the energy of spring coming in. We want to co-create with the natural rhythms of the earth. The natural rhythms of nature are showing us that it's now time for us to be out in the world. There's very much of a sense of renewal and a sense of new beginnings. And we think about nature really being our teacher. And when we look outside as the spring happens, the flowers are blossoming, the leaves are all coming on the trees. And so there is this real sense of newness, this new life. And so with taking a little cue from nature, hey, what is it in our own lives that we would like to see blossom? And where are some areas that we might want to set new intentions and create new energy?
Is this a good time to be planting seeds?
Yeah. Well, I think, yeah.
'Cause,
We can plant those seeds within our lives.
Yeah.
But there's a lot, and it's interesting too, because I do want to mention that the month of March, there is a lot of movement forward because all the planets are in direct motion. And that doesn't happen very often because as soon as we go into April, I think we have Mercury going retrograde. But anyway, right now there's a lot of forward motion, and that is in conjunction with the dynamic energy of the equinox. Now, there is something else that I want to share because I found it to be quite fascinating. This particular equinox happens to be the first equinox in 240 years, where Pluto has been in the sign of Aquarius. And I thought I have to share that because it certainly, happened a lot 240 years ago. And what that means is Pluto is our planet of transformation and really, rising, the phoenix rising from the ashes. And Aquarius is all about humanity. It's all about freedom. It's all about human rights and equality and anti-elitism. And so innovation. So I think that we can really, with the start of this equinox and this energy, really be prepared for lots of dynamic changes that are going to be coming on to our planet. And now, in addition to that, we have even more astrological news, because we are soon getting ready for eclipse season. And what does that mean? Well, that means, once again, there is much more dynamic energy. So in conjunction with the equinox, with Pluto in Aquarius, we now have the eclipse season. Our first eclipse is just in a few days. It's March 25th, and it is a full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Libra. Now, and Libra is all about partnership, relationship, whether, it's personal or business or friendship, whatever. Libra is a peacemaker, and even the glyph for the sign Libra happens to be the scale. And so once again, we've got balance. We've got the theme of balance coming in. And when I was putting all this together, I thought, what a beautiful energy to really open up and practice compassionate understanding and compassionate deep listening and mindfulness in how we do communicate with each other. So in conclusion here for the astrology, let's really harness this time, these energies that are supporting us to move forward. These energies are supporting us to make new intentions and to really hold the energy of love and light through sound.
There's another eclipse happening somewhere in
right.
April.
In fact,
supposed to be very powerful.
Right. In fact, April the 8th, there is a solar eclipse and I'll talk more about that, obviously, in our April Satsang. But many astrologers are saying that is going to be the most powerful eclipse of the season. We have many during the season.
So folks, on that day, be aware there are lots of different meditations and groups happening. Either by yourself or join others, co-create together at this extraordinary time when interdimensional portals are being offered to us to raise the vibratory rate of the planet, to raise the vibratory rate of all sentient beings.
And so during this time, if possible, to really stay in that place of mindfulness and keeping our consciousness really in a high frequency of love, of positivity, of kindness, of gratitude. And that's a beautiful segue, Jonathan, into preparing now for the last portion of our program tonight, which is our guided global sound healing meditation for personal and planetary healing, because we're going to be talking about heart-brain coherence, which is all about keeping the energy and the positive vibrations active.
Totally. And I mean, we do these global sonic meditations every Sound Satsang, and we use some different mantras. This one we're using our friend the Om, and basically we're using a phenomenon, and many of you are aware of this, but called heart-brain coherence, where working with the energy of gratitude and the energy of breath, we're able to create if you like, synchronization of our heart and our brain, which amplifies our electromagnetic field many times. And then we're going to be adding the element of sound on to that. And so that's the purpose of the guided meditation. So follow the instructions that Andi will be giving in the guided meditation.
But the real lovely part of this meditation is that it really, speaking of keeping our consciousness really in a high level of positivity by our focusing on our breathing from our heart space and really bringing in positive energy, positive thoughts, kindness, gratitude, etc. That electromagnetic field around our bodies really expands and connects with all the love that's always available on our planet. And so that's really our intention. And of course, putting sound to it, that's really our intention.
So tone along with us, sound along with us, even though we are separated conceptually in terms of the ethers, we are all in one just wondrous field together, co-creating.
And I wanted to mention one
We're
last
so
thing.
excited.
I know. One last thing is that when you are toning along with us, because when we get to the portion where we are toning, wherever you are out loud, tone with us, Om, and stay in your comfort zone, because louder is not better, more is not better, but just your comfort level is the highest, most important thing. And at the end of our meditation, we're going to be in silence for just a few moments, and then we'll come back and we will conclude our program tonight.
And we'll be doing this video very shortly, maybe in about a minute or so. But for right now, I'd like you to just take some nice, slow, deep breaths in and out, and just begin to contemplate what you would like to manifest for the personal and planetary healing in your life and the lives of all of us. We are at a pivotal point in our evolutionary development. Let's use this time together to co-create the miraculous. So for a moment, continue breathing. And now, Russell, perhaps you would begin to roll them, sir.
The purpose for this meditation is to project a sound encoded with the energies of light and love, and project healing to the Gaia matrix, our beloved planet Earth. We will first create coherence between our heart and our brain. This effect will further be amplified by the power of the Om that you will be toning along with later, bringing more light and love into your body, mind, and spirit for health and wellness. And now, begin to focus on your breathing. Breathing in and breathing out. Slowly breathing in and out. And as you're breathing in and out, imagine or visualize that you're breathing in and out through your heart. As you're breathing in and out through the area of your heart, remembering that it is love that breathes each breath, and it is love that causes each beat of our heart. Continue breathing slowly, breathing in and out in this manner. And now, I'd like you to call to mind something that has brought you a great deal of appreciation, gratitude, something that you are feeling very good about. This might be an experience with another person. Perhaps it's a beautiful sunset. It may be a beloved pet, a spouse. but it is something that has brought you loving kindness and gratitude and appreciation. And as you're breathing in and out through your heart, feeling this appreciation, feeling this gratitude, you're creating a beautiful coherence between your heart and your brain. And your heart, through this coherence, is expanding, getting larger and larger, and connecting with all the heart and loving energy on our planet in this moment. This is just a wonderful way of creating a very powerful heart activation, and you'll be amplifying this with the sound of the Om. Continue breathing slowly and deeply while feeling appreciation and gratitude, and imagining your breath going in and out through your heart. Now, visualize this energy and begin to sense a radiant light around you that is permeating every cell of your body and resonating your heart chakra. In a moment, we'll begin to gently sound forth with the power of the Om. And as you do this, visualize the planet Earth as a holographic image floating in front of you. Imagine bathing the Earth in a healing field of light and love that you are creating through your sacred sound. Now, let us begin to make the heart sound of the Om, bringing the energy of global harmonization, peace and healing to our beloved planet, Earth. one last time. Now, being in silence, visualizing all the light and love through sound that you have manifested, resonating and bringing to earth and yourself to a deep state of healing. And when you feel ready, open your eyes and know that you have contributed to personal and planetary healing.
Hello. Wow. Wow. Wow.
Welcome back once again. It's kind of nice to have that moment of silence after sounding as we did. I know it's hard to get back into the present moment, but that we shall do.
And what a blessing it is to be just co-creating sacred sound with you all. This is a real field that we are manifesting and feeding to our beloved planet Earth and all the beings. So it's real. We mentioned briefly that we had a wondrous World Sound Healing Day. And one of the things that resulted was a chart from the Global Consciousness Project. And it was really amazing because you could just see this graph occurring, happening for an extended period of time over that day, as though there was just a waveform of sacred sound that was moving throughout the planet, elevating the consciousness of all sentient beings. So it was truly, truly a blessing. When we do this now, I don't know that we need to have any sort of measurement or chart to realize that it's real, because in your heart, you know that it's real. So tonight, we went through compassionate, understanding, conscious communication, compassionate listening, compassionate dialogue. And these are just so important. I'm just going to, because they're so important at this point in time and space, because we need to talk to each other. And even if people have issues, perhaps as Andi was saying, start with intentionality, that you at least will do this and be kind to them and try to understand why they're coming from this particular place. You may not agree with them, but it's a start to just be able to engage these people who may be your mother or your father or your sister or brother or whatnot in conversation. You may not be speaking to each other because of some issue. And we don't have time, my friends, to be dealing with this stuff. We've got a planet and a whole energetic field to restore and bring to, the term is tikkun olam, repairing the earth. And we need to do that. I mean, and the first step, or one of the first steps, is compassionate communication. Again, start with listening. Don't have an answer for somebody before they finish talking. And then compassionate dialogue. Loving kindness in your speech.
Loving kindness. And, you know, I know that one of the things that the Dalai Lama says that I always just so appreciated, he said, just be nice to each other.
Right, you know,
just be nice to each other. But we hope that tonight just really sort of uncovering compassionate understanding and the components with deep listening and mindfulness and, you know, our breathing and setting intentions. We hope that it has helped to open your hearts to compassion. And once again, we want to just thank everyone so much for joining us and for taking time out of your evening to be with us tonight. We so appreciate you for being with us. And thank you to Humanity's team, for Russell and Jim. Thank you for the men behind the scenes. And also a huge thank you to the Sound Healers Association and Nasiri Suzanne, who is our director, and to all of our members of the Sound. And if you're not a member yet, you can certainly become a member. Just go to soundhealersassociation.org.
And to Alex Sims of the Healing Sounds team, thank you, Alec, for all the work that you're doing. And for everybody here, listen, come back next month,
Right.
to, you know, April 23rd, 7 p.m., folks, 7 p.m. Mountain Time, an hour earlier, make it a little easier. And we're going to be working with sounds of the earth in honor of Earth Day, which will have just happened. And right now, as we are cruising and coasting in and on the waveform of this extraordinary spring
Equinox, we want to say happy equinox.
And we send you blessings of light and love through sound. Just breathe it in, be in the field, and let us project and create magnificence for ourselves and for all sentient beings.
Blessings of love and light through sound. Thank you
Thank you
again.
so much.